If you would join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much and welcome. Do I hear an approval of the agenda or any changes?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda. We added one thing on here, right? Discussion right here at E, 90 new business items. I believe it was
We
additional.
did add one item at the bottom, discussion of proposal by Foster Park.
All right, so
Yes.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as it is on here.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So
I'd like to note too that that just came this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem. We're certainly,
we got notified.
can, well, even if we didn't, we can make adjustments, right?
Yep.
We're fluid.
Okay, first item is the consent agenda items, which would be the approval of the special meeting minutes of July 10th. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the special minutes of July 10th, 2003.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Action items 4, A, B, C, and D. Do I hear a motion to approve?
And I'll make a motion to approve general fund voucher 2308020001 to 23080228 for $24,734.03. Item B, payment of payroll voucher 2308010001 to 23080111 for $23,697.46. Item C, payment of water fund voucher 2308030001 to 2308030003 for $9,848.50. And action item D to approve these by digital signatures.
Okay, I hear a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Commissioner reports. Who'd like to go first?
Commissioner?
Yes.
Just a note, we put public comment at the end of the meeting based on what you all learned at the commissioner seminar about when it should be. So I just wanted to note that.
That's great.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I was going to even add that, I thought, at the end, but that was great. So thank
Okay.
you. Commissioners report? Who first?
Okay, well, mine's simple. I attended the special meeting we had on 10 July, and then I did my Basin Transit Authority Board meeting this month. I'm representing as well, I think. Anyway, that's all I got.
Well, you also went to the Washington
Oh.
Public Courts Commissioners.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
And I learned a ton. I can't believe it. I mean, I took notes. I think I wrote a book. I learned a lot from that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
We attended the general meeting, special meeting, and then I also helped out with Allyn Days, and I'd like to give a shout out to our court staff, Leanne. You make a great batch of muscles. This is the first year before they were gone, we ran some over. We loved them, so thank you. The attendance seemed to be down from years prior, but I thought the event went pretty well. So, and I'm also on the PRTPO Legislative Committee, but we had a problem with the Zoom hookup, so I wasn't able to attend this month. But Thera gave me an update what was going on. So
Is that it?
that's it.
Okay. I too did the special meeting, July 10th. July 13th, I did the Economic Development Council meeting. We're still on the recompete. It's kind of a process. Recompete program is where we're all going for grants, but it's collaborative efforts, and we're doing it. The collaborative efforts are with other counties and other entities. The grant is going for infrastructure projects or other projects that we can collaborate on, so it's doing well. And the legislative committees really being active as well. I got a report on that. They're also working on an economic development district, which I'm not really good at explaining that. I think Jennifer Correa was going to explain that. I think she started to explain that better, but they're still working on that. Of course, I did one day at Allyn Days. That was great. Thank you, Leanne, Dawn, everybody for being there. And Washington Public Ports Commissioner Seminar, I attended that. That was July 24th, 26th. We have to drive down the extra long way because Highway 106 was closed. But it was really helpful. Learned a few things. Hopefully I can implement them at least better. You know, we learn more about public record stuff and all that. And when Richard Knight had retired a few years ago, August 13th was declared Richard Knight Day. So I just want to remind everybody that is on this coming Sunday. That it's Richard Knight Day. Just remember him and all that he did for this community. So that's it for me. Okay, Travis, you're next.
All right. Travis Brown, Port Allen Spirit. Just to recap from last month, fireworks went great. No real issues there. The front has been fairly active at night, but nobody has given me any problems leaving, so that's been pretty solid. But we are starting to run into issues on the North Shore again with the boats that are moored off of buoys. We've got somebody out there living on one of the boats and coming in whenever they want, leaving the little dinghy there at night sometimes, and then I go up to try to deal with it the next day with Donnie, and it's gone because they're back there on their boat. I've caught the boat actually what I would call basically prowling at night along the shoreline, 10 o'clock, 10:30 when I come down there. Donnie's told me that there's been a lot of yelling and screaming on the boat. But all we can do is, since it's offshore and on a buoy, that wait for something to happen on our property before we can do anything about it. So we've kind of drawn a line there with little dinghies like that don't have any registration or anything. We're just going to pull them and confiscate them and make the owner come to us because they owe us mortgage fees, and that seems to be the only option. I mean, we could chain it, but it's pretty hard to chain a little boat like that. There's nothing to hook it to. We'd have to drill a hole in it. So with that, that's really all I've got. But we'll keep an eye on it and see if we can try to curb the behavior, I guess.
What type of motor do they have on that dinghy?
No motor.
No motor.
No motor. So it's not required to have any kind of registration. But it did have registration at one time because it does have a sticker, but no numbers.
Is it a current sticker?
No. So more concerning is the male and female fighting on the boat, which is probably a domestic violence issue. But how is anything going to happen when they're way offshore? So I know there's a fair amount of very nice homesteads off to the left-hand side there. Sometimes there's really loud parties at night. You can hear them at night. I go down there. But it's concerning to see. I've seen that boat more than once out there rowing around real close to shore, the whole way around the cove. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, next Executive Director's Report, Larry.
All right. Financial issues. Revenues are performing as expected. Gazebo reservations are on a par with the years past right now. And the water system's doing well. Water system issues. As you know, our primary goal at this juncture is to get approval to use the grant money to acquire Jeff Carey's system, including the well and the lots compromising sanitary area around it. Ecology hasn't gotten back with us. Our consultants analyzed the pump data Jeff provided to make sure it complies with the terms of our water right and said that it does. They've submitted the data to Ecology for final approval, and that will move this process forward. Then Jeff will need to have a cultural resources survey completed on the property so we can move forward with the purchase and sale agreement. Our original goal was to wrap this up by Labor Day, but depending on 3 state agency approval timelines, Ecology, Health, and Commerce, it doesn't look promising. Also, if it goes into October, we could possibly reapply for the Department of Health consolidation loan for part of the purchase price and possibly use the rest of the grant money and ARPA money for upgrades to the system. However, the county threw a monkey wrench into this last week because we haven't used the $100,000 in ARPA funds they have reserved for this project yet. The county wants to rescind its commitment for that money so they can use it in their 2024 budget. Both myself and our lobbyists are working to prevent that. I'll have more on this as it develops and we'll keep you in the loop.
One quick thing.
Sure.
If you listen to the county commissioners briefing today, this was addressed, and according to the county commissioners and the county administrator, that was not their intent. They just wanted us to communicate better what our intentions were, whether we're going to drill a new well or we're going to buy Mr. Carey system. So if all of you get a chance, I think it's halfway through the meeting, pull it up, and I thought they explained it very well.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that because when I heard that, I heard it at the administrator's breakfast last week, I was kind of taken by surprise. So I sent an email to the county administrator explaining what the progress was and what the plans were and where we were at in the entire process.
I felt very comfortable when they were done speaking, all 3 commissioners.
I think that's great news.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, Allyn Pier Replacement Project. As you know, we were awarded $515,000 in a capital budget for this project. Our options are to replace the entire pier with a completely new structure, sleeve the existing pilings, which effectively gets the creosote out of the water as well as stops the deterioration of the pilings, or drive new pilings, which we need to do for the ones that are missing no matter what. Currently exploring the feasibility and useful life of all 3 options. Bottom line is we won't know enough to make any decisions until we get either estimates. Let me start over. Until we getting tongue-tied here. An engineer's estimates or bids. If we can't tap into federal funds for this, we'll put an RFP out and see what happens, as we'll be required to solicit bids no matter what we decide anyway. One option I'm exploring with our lobbyists is finding federal funding for replacing the entire structure, which I expect will cost somewhere between $5 to $7 million. Our realistic chances of getting that much out of the state are pretty remote. Our lobbyists and I met with Representative Derek Kilmer's staff and got an idea of what's involved in the beginning of the federal funding process and are working on those first steps. Also, at the Kitsap Ballports meeting last week, James Weaver from the Port of Bremerton gave a short overview of what it took for them to get $13 million out of the feds for their breakwater replacement project. I approached James, who I had actually hired as DCD director in Port Orchard, after the meeting and asked if he'd be willing to meet with our lobbyists and myself for a more in-depth discussion and share some tips that we can use. He readily agreed and we're meeting on Wednesday. Dock repair. Our insurer, Endurus, sent out a team to inspect the damage, but we're still waiting on bids for the repair work. Marine Floats, who did the original work, has been promising a bid for several weeks now, but I've received nothing even after several follow-ups. Endurus's marine consultant has someone he says can do the work, so I told him to get him a bid from them. And who it is AUS, who fixed the dock out at the North Shore. I've also been told there may be a supply chain delivery issue where pedestals are concerned but not given any timeline for delivery as of yet. To prevent this from happening again, I contacted Rogue Fabricators and they're doing a workup of some kind of design and pricing for the portable fencing solution we discussed. Also, since we're going to have to replace all the power and water pedestals, there was a lot of talk at WPPA spring meeting about electrically powered boats becoming quite common in the next few years. So I'm looking into the possibility of retrofitting our dock with pedestals that also include level 3 chargers for boats. Still researching this, but there isn't a lot of information available that I could find. However, at the Kitsap All Ports meeting last week, I asked if anyone had any information or experience with these, and was told there are some that accept the standard 30 and 50 amp plugs and still charge the electric propulsion batteries at the same time. So I'm trying to find additional information on those. Upcoming comprehensive plan updates. Getting time to look at an update to our comprehensive scheme of harbor improvements. A week or so ago, I sent all of you a draft list of potential projects we might want to look at and seek public input about, as well as include projects the public may want to suggest. We have to have the final approved plan to RCO by March 1st, 2024 to be considered for any future funding by them for our projects. Security camera deployment. I met this morning with the contractor we've been talking with for several months about what's needed to redeploy the existing cameras we have and get them active once again. They laid out a number of options previously, and I want to move forward a step at a time as we have the funds to do so, and this is the first step in that process. They're going to supply us 2 bids. One would be time and material with estimates of what we're looking at, and the other one will just be a flat price no matter what. So I'll just wait to get those. Kayak park. I've asked RCO if we could convert the park to use an EV charging station. They sent me some forms, an entire list of things we need to do to get permission for this. I followed up on the process and submitted the package last month. They came back with a request for additional information, which required producing some additional drawings and a map, which I also submitted last week. So we'll see what they say. Also reached out to an automotive contact of mine who is with Electrify America, the largest EV charging station provider in the country. He connected me to someone in their marketing department who sent me information on the chargers as well as the costs. Also connected with someone from ChargePoint, another major infrastructure provider. But before we get too deep in the weeds with this, I want to make sure RCO will approve the use change first. Sign issue. Don and I figured out what needs to be done electrically to use the sign we got from the Kitsap County Fire District. We ordered the replacement parts, basically both ballasts and 8 new fluorescent tubes, plus a couple spares. Once we get them and have the sign working, we'll order the artwork and reader board supplies. We should be out of this thing with the sign and reader board and everything good to go for under $3,000. When we talked to the sign company, it was over 10. Old business, Oyster House. We met with Art Anderson and Eco Engineers to make sure everyone is on the same page about who needs to do what to keep this moving. Art Anderson, who did the original piling design, is working on the plans for what we need to do to relocate the building and cantilever it over the water. Eco Engineers is handling all the permitting. This requires a change in scope for the grants, and I've already submitted the necessary paperwork to our grant manager, and she has sent it to the legislature for approval. Our lobbyist followed up on that today. Representative Griffey said he will help us if we need him to run interference with commerce on this. Sweetwater Park, we heard from Barry Fisher this morning, and the proposal to create a disc golf course on the Sweetwater Park property is dead. Apparently the Disc Golf Association doesn't feel there's enough usable space there for a course. Salmon Center's hired a firm to do the majority of the remaining property cleanup, but the original work date had to be postponed, so the cleanup will be rescheduled. There's also another round after that, which should be the final cleanup for anything that's left. Although no date has been set at this time, Mindy Harlow from Salmon Center is coordinating it all. In the meantime, the entire property remains closed to the public, and the trail cameras continue to be monitored. Kitsap All Ports meeting, next one set for October 20th at the Port of Brownsville, and all of you are invited. And finally, I don't know why I'm so tongue-tied tonight, so I apologize. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Ken Van Busker called and left a message saying that he observed some people.
I just realized that we started talking about it during your
Okay.
He called me.
Oh, okay. You have more information than I do. He just said that he saw
Just that he saw
three people. Yeah,
Yeah.
Don's supposed to do a camera and see what he sees.
okay.
I wonder if it wasn't Barry Fisher.
Could be.
Yeah,
Barry
he
said-
was supposed to walk that property with me and somebody from the Disc Golf Association, but I never heard from him.
Yeah,
Okay.
Barry could have come up there with his call. We'll find out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of it.
All right.
One note on the cameras, when we do revisit all that and get dialed into it, I'd like to seriously consider having a better view of the front ballot box at the front of the building.
Oh, that's a black camera.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
it's
a
only
camera.
partial, isn't it?
I don't know. The
The
county
county
put it
did.
up, not
I didn't
us.
know they had done that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
Beautiful.
several months ago.
okay.
Now, the auditor came to a meeting also.
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
I think.
You were, I think, zooming in.
Should have called me on the phone immediately, Larry.
Well, the county auditor came
That's
to this
cool.
meeting and asked about it, and they
Okay.
were here like the next day.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. But there was concern in the community for us to do that, and it got done, so I'm glad I was a big part of that. I was trying to make fun.
If you were just there.
I know. All right, thank you.
All right. Ted, did you have any questions for me?
Maybe just something that we could think about. If we were to replace that entire pier with federal money, would that exempt us from the RCO requirements that we have on this pier?
I believe so.
So we could actually put a locking gate
I
to
believe
the
so.
boats?
Because RCO didn't fund the marina.
No, I'm just thinking that RCO requires total public
Right.
access.
Right.
And if we were to do it outside of RCO, that way the folks that moor the boats down there.
Right.
At least
No,
they
I-
have
I
some
be- I
additional
believe-
protection.
I believe we'd be good to go with that.
Yes.
Well, maybe we can.
We'll keep
dig
moving
to it more,
forward.
Yeah.
No, it's not an easy road. It's gonna be a long haul.
There's always big streams.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know James worked on the money for that breakwater for like 5 years.
Wow.
And he also had the Navy and a lot of people supporting that
Yeah.
project. So
Yeah.
Yeah, in those areas. Yeah. Okay, on to new business items. First one is to set the new meeting date. Thank you for remembering to put that on right away for September. Let's take a look at that.
A regular meeting falls on Labor Day.
Yes. Would Wednesday the 6th work? 6 o'clock?
Works for me.
that works for me.
Okay. Duly noted, Port of Allyn. Okay. Attorney selection?
I could, since I asked, I mean, it was maybe my understanding, I know we selected Schmilling and his group, and I'm 100% fine with that. When I spoke to the executive director, he said we may have to change. So I was just making sure that if we do make a change and their workload is too high, that we discuss what options we have, so.
Thanks for bringing that up, Ted, because actually we did vote for Frank.
Right.
Right.
And now he's on the way to retirement, and so he is not taking clients, so that's why Tim Schmelz, what's his last name? Schmelzer?
Tim was, gonna take the reins.
Tim,
I don't know the last name.
Shellmitzler or something like that.
yeah, I'd have to look it up here.
Tim said that he would represent us in this mediation situation with Mr. Carey, but he wasn't sure if he could represent us past that because the company is still reassessing their workload with Frank's retirement.
Okay,
And he didn't know if they were going to have enough ability to do that.
Was that
So,
followed by the meeting we had? You had that conversation with him?
yes. So, he said he'll work on on the mediation issue, but that he, at this point, isn't sure. So I was going to meet with the other guy that we had talked to a while back, Rich Wooster, and I put that off at the last minute because Tim said he would do this, but he wasn't sure what he could do or couldn't do. So, and Tim was going on vacation that day anyway. So he's back now. I can still meet with him if you want, or, you know, I talked with Tim this morning, and he's pretty busy. And on top of all of that, his wife is recovering from some serious surgery, so he's a lot of time at home caring for kids and her because she's incapacitated. So I don't know, I don't expect that he's going to be able to do us full-time.
Okay.
I
His
mean,
last name
that's
is-
kind of the impression I've gotten talking to him.
Well, maybe we should just utilize him since he is up to speed on the
Right.
Public Meetings Act. And then
Right.
there's Mr. Wooster, is that
Yeah.
his last
Yeah,
name?
or we interview other folks.
Sure.
And I've already explained my relationship with Rich, but otherwise we interview other folks. But if, I would wait until Tim gives us a definite no.
Okay, that's fine.
And then when he says that, then we research other attorneys.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Schermitzler is his last name.
Yeah, that's
Schermitzler. It's like Schmillick, right?
I agree.
Yeah, I think you have to have a funny last name to work
There
there.
you
I don't know.
go. They're great, though. They are just
Oh,
really
yeah.
stellar. Okay, excellent. Potential projects for, and public outreach for the comprehensive plan update. And I see that you had a survey that you had created here.
Yeah, it basically is the same projects that we didn't complete from the last one. But I didn't know if you all had other projects you wanted to put on there or not. I kind of felt like putting the pier on there is a little bit putting the cart before the horse until we know more. But, you know, that was just a starting place right there.
So how were you going to put this out?
What I was
survey?
going to do was give it to Greg and have him create
Put it
a
on.
fill-in-the-blank document,
Oh, good, okay.
and then put it on our website, put it on Facebook, you know, promote it on other social media that we have, and, you know, just a link to it to our website.
I'd like to entertain the idea of getting together and plan it as commission. I don't think I think it's smart to get out there for the public with this survey, see if we can get, you know, some shorter version of it. And be able to talk to people before the summer's over.
Well, what I thought too is maybe send it to the chamber, get them to send it out to their members, maybe the EDC as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'd like to get more public input than we had the last time we did it.
Well, I wonder if I could take a handful of these, or, you know, a bunch of them and go in front of one of the grocery stores.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they could just take it the way it is and, you know, fill in the
Yeah.
blanks in writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because, gosh, the other day I went shopping during the day and it was like Old Home Week. I never got to shop. So I was like, well, that's a good sign. I better start showing up there. Okay.
I have nothing more to add to this than I reviewed it. That seems to be consensus besides the swimming pool. That's usually what I hear about.
The swimming pool is just not a good thing for us.
We looked at that probably
Yeah.
8 years ago, 10 years ago, and it just wasn't financially feasible.
I remember we looked at it 3 years ago as
Yeah.
well and had the same conclusion. And, you know, we got asked by the Lynch Cove Association about trying to get grants to upgrade their pool. And, I mean, I think that's just kind of symbolic of what the problem with having a pool is. You know, I live in South Kitsap, and we see what's going on with the pool at the high school. And, you know, what was $2 million to build is now $20 million to fix.
Yeah.
So, I think the further we stay away from a pool, the better off we're gonna be. That's just my opinion.
Okay, anything else on that? No? Okay, let's go to alternative methods for preventing our sea lion problem.
Okay, I talked with Jared from Road Fabricators and told him what we were looking for was a portable aluminum fence that Don could put up by himself in, relatively short period of time, like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's coming back out here to do some measurements again. And, we don't need anything nearly as extensive as we had before, or, what he had designed before. But we want something quick and easy, so he said he'd come up with something and give us a bid for it.
Great. Excellent. Anything else, gentlemen? Commissioners? Any questions in regard to that? Okay.
I will say don't want to take shellfish because how's it going to get all this stuff out right there? What going on the margin is going on.
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, discussion about the Foster Garvey reduced payouts.
Yeah, Foster Garvey sent us an email this afternoon saying we would pay them $25,000 by the 15th of September. They'd write off the rest of our bill. We currently owe them about $38,000, so it would be a savings of $13,000. So,
So moved.
since that is the very end of my spending authority, I thought I'd let you guys
I think we should
weigh in
try
on
to
that.
take them up on that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that they are even offering that.
So am
That
I.
is just incredible.
So we need to make a motion on that. right?
Yeah, please do.
I'll make a motion, if I could look over here,
Yeah.
for the proposal by Foster Garvey, to reduce the payment from $38,000 to $25,000, as long as it's paid by September
15.
15th.
I'd like to pay it immediately because that's just, that would include the $2,500 that's in the vouchers today.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion to pay them immediately.
Okay, well, what he
Okay,
just said.
I second that
Yeah.
motion to pay them.
Okay,
Make another motion to pay them immediately.
well, let's work on the first one. And the first
Yeah.
one is, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And actually, it can be your discretion, I think,
Okay.
with paying them off. So
Thank you.
sooner the better.
Yeah, I think
Great.
this tongue-tied nonsense is,
It's catchy.
contagious.
Excellent, well, that's great. Now we're here at the public comment. If you would please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And please feel free. Jeff, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, okay, go ahead.
Jeff Carey of Belfair. Three things. One is, I did listen to the commissioner's thing on the financing of the ARPA, but I'm going to raise that. It makes me a little nervous because they're talking in that conversation, they said, okay, apparently the contract was for doing a new well. If you're going to change the use, then you come back before them, and then they want to reevaluate, given the projects they all had, and the decision, probably made a decision back then, whenever they paid it. So, there's been a number of these lately that are kind of like, how many more times are we going to go through this? Nothing against Larry or anything, but it's just that, when I saw the minutes, I wasn't here at the last meeting, when I saw the minutes, and then there was this part brought up about the legislature has to approve the change, and then this month, the county needs to approve the change. It's kind of like, well, we're going to do this or not, type thing. So I'll work with you, however we got to work through, but man.
We'll get it done.
Yeah. Okay. Bottom line is that, there's a number of pieces that need to be wrapped up. I've covered some new ones with Larry, but we do need to get the pieces ironed out, because like one issue that came up in evaluating the booster that was laid out by Washington or Northwest Water. Too much, it appears to me, too much of the engineering has not been done thinking about the port, thinking about users, thinking about the zoning, thinking about what it takes. There's overkill in one area and underkill, in my opinion, in the other. So what I mean by that is that there was a hell of a booster they're putting in at the top there. And if you look at the zoning code, the service, it's all residential, so you have some distance. You don't have to bring the fire hydrant right up to the house. So anyway, there's a number of shortcomings. I've mentioned a number of them to Larry. I don't want to keep investing trying to solve problems until we get closer to saying, okay, sign here, but I have our team ready to go. I have the retainer set, and it's been set for 3 months now, so, whatever, whenever. Second thing is that's my train of thought. On the comprehensive plan, if you're going to have the survey out, then I'll make comments on that. And last but not least, this year, I got appointed last fall to the PAC, the Planning Advisory Committee to the county. The county is going to begin doing, give me a couple seconds here. The county is going to begin doing the 2025 update to the comprehensive plan for the county.
Okay.
This time they're trying to get on the front side of it instead of having it arrive, like last time they had it 2015, they didn't really start working on 2016, 17, they were finally wrapping it up. This time they'd like to work on 2024, the guts of it, and hopefully have it wrapped up by 2025. So, I haven't thought about the impacts to the port, there's impacts to UGAs, there's a whole number of things. And hopefully I bring another angle to it. My big thing is the infrastructure and the cost of it, and where are we going with populations and things like this. In short, we seem to be planning, but we never look back to see what we plan and how did it work out. We just boldly go ahead, next plan, next plan, next plan. So anyway, any input from that I'll take and work it into that committee. So
Great.
appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thank you much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Joe. Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Gina Finley. I live in Allyn. And I just want to echo that my husband and I, Allyn, both really agree that having a locked place would dock would bring in more mortgage customers. Talk to people all the time. We kind of feel like we're a welcome wagon for Allyn. But we have a ring camera. We have good friends that keep an eye out for us, so we feel safe. I just wanted to publicly thank Travis. We've privately done so ourselves, but on 4th of July we had some friends out and absolutely loved being on the boat and watching all the fireworks, but Travis came and checked on us and just made me feel safe. I am concerned about people smoking on the dock. We had to ask some people recently, and I don't know if there's a signage anywhere else. I haven't seen it, and maybe I'm overly paranoid, but we have a lot of gasoline and people are sometimes smoking right next to our boat, so I have to ask them to put that out. And the last thing is that we've so enjoyed Allyn Days, being down on the boat. We get to talk to people from Port Orchard, Gig Harbor, Tacoma, Olympia, and they love coming down here for Allyn Days. I would love to see a farmer's market, just putting that out there, a regular once-a-month farmer's market. I think that would just bring a lot of people in to enjoy all the things that Allyn has to offer. Thank you.
Wow, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate that.
Ken Van Busker has his hand up.
Oh, I didn't know he was on. Ken?
Where is he?
I don't see him. Hi.
Yes.
Barely.
Let's see if I can turn this up.
Just a minute, Ken. We're trying to turn the sound up.
Okay, try that.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all we have is the computer and it's at 100%.
Yeah.
Do you want me to move my mic over there?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, we'll just be quiet. Go
Yeah.
ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
You can hear me now? Yeah, I couldn't hear a lot of what was going on there. But I do understand that the public comment's going to be at the end of the meeting now. And you folks mentioned that you learned about something at the conference you went to. Perhaps the executive director could put that in the next report as to why you decided to do that. I did see a general fund voucher for $2,500 for Foster Garvey. I assume that's part of that payoff of the $38,000. I commend you for taking care of that and not spending any more money than you need to. I'd like to speak to the executive director's report and the business with Sweetwater Creek. I saw 3 people coming out of there on Friday afternoon. I called the port. I called Commissioner Scott. I called Travis. I was able to talk to both Travis and to Leanne. After hearing that Mr. Fisher doesn't want to do it now, I suspect that those 3 people were with the Golf Association, Disc Golf Association. And whoever let them go up there unattended by themselves should be held accountable. And I think the cameras should be checked. If those folks went up there without permission and were just told to go, that's a liability issue. And I would hope that you will address that. I also wanted to talk about what Commissioner Jackson mentioned in the executive director's report about the monkey wrench business. After I saw that on Friday, I talked to 2 of the county commissioners, and I agree with what Commissioner Jackson said. That was not their intent, and it should never have been mentioned that it was a monkey wrench. That's just inappropriate. I haven't heard anything, update on the executive director's position. I think Mr. Capola mentioned that his spending authority is coming to a close, so I think it'd be wise if he is planning to retire that you start looking for a new executive director. And finally, I sent you an email on Friday, all of you, and I want to make sure you read that email and let me know what action you take. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really good. I heard about the third of that, so you know, I thought I heard it.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
he said it with sound was on his end. It was the issue. Not right.
Well,
It's this thing here.
Yeah. Phil Wolf has his hand up as well.
Oh,
yeah, why can't we see them? I can't see them.
boy. It is our end.
1 second, Phil.
Shouldn't be seeing the.
Okay.
We probably should have done that when Tom was speaking.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, wow. Thank you, Diedrich.
Well,
Okay.
loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, I heard a presentation from the county employee, I forget her name, that's taking on the new comprehensive plan, and the growth numbers are just astronomical, what's going to occur with this county. So I really encourage when we do, when the comprehensive plan, when that effort is undertaken, the growth is at the forefront of it. And, and including what, though it's not necessarily not directly in the port's purview, but, the need for traffic mitigation, like at Highway 3 and their North Bay Road, and, the need for a roundabout or something there. Anyway, those are just a couple points. I'll take a look at the survey. see what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, I try to broadcast that as widely as you can. So yeah, that's my point.
Great, well, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else out there?
No.
Okay. Well, I want to apologize to Ken that we didn't have the sound up properly.
Is he still on there?
Is
No,
Ken-
he's not.
Okay, I apologize to Ken that we didn't have that set up properly, so hopefully we can rectify that. Okay, anything for the, oh, Barry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, just a couple of comments and trying to make it before the little button squeaks at me. First of all, just
Gotta
happening.
reset the thing.
Right. Well, not five.
And does it have to be so
Anyway.
loud?
Want to thank the board for what they did today, and Donnie told me this was going to happen, but the guy came to cut the last of the dead tree out there, and he was also tasked for cleaning all of that debris up along the south side over there, and it sure looks a lot better. Appreciate that. And because leaves still blow over when we get a strong north wind, and now they won't for at least a month. So anyway, thanks for that. The amount of people, you know, it is summer, and of course we got a king moon or you know, a big moon the first of the month. We're going to have a blue moon this month, one at the end of the month. I think it's on the 30th. People just come down here and take all kinds of pictures because it's absolutely gorgeous. And anyway, nice warm weather, so there's, you know, it's been pretty calm. And now one of the things that Vicki and I have talked about, and I don't know what you can do about it, but I have a suggestion. All of the launch prices, mooring prices and things have been blacked out on the sign over there. So there's nothing that says, and I know that the costs have changed. I don't know why, but what we've done with our church, and we have these big banners that we advertise our different sales and things with, we can go to copy that and get something made with a new date, or you could with a new price or whatever it is for launch fees pretty quickly. So, you know, that could at least last for the summer for you. So,
Okay.
anyway, just a comment on that, because, and the other thing, I guess, I see so many people aren't paying. They look at the sign and they think that it's free now, you know. I hope you can get the cameras back soon, because that will help.
When were they blacked out?
Oh,
Okay.
I was gonna
We
say,
used to
that's
get
news to
stickers.
me.
Yeah.
We used to get stickers.
Okay.
yeah. So.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. And because of the taking so long to get the electrical back on, there are a lot of boats that come in, and these are not just small little boats, but they're, you know, the size of Allyn and Gina's boat and larger, and within about 10 minutes they leave because they know there's no power for them.
We're well aware.
I know you are, but boy, you know, I wish you could charge the electricians for a lost revenue.
I wish
You
we
know,
could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's a big thing for you
Okay.
guys, and so, anyway. Really support the locked dock along with Ted and Gina and Allyn. I mean,
Sure.
that's really gonna encourage other people to come also.
The right kind of, you know, traffic, it means well.
Yep. So, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Split it, zero, okay?
Do you have any comments? Oh, Travis?
I'll give a little
All right.
stuff that, you know, I think of during the course of the meeting that didn't have prepared. Whatever we do for Sea Lion defense is going to have a very unique locking system. Otherwise, we're going to have another truck and tow the cables out scenario again, because if they can make $100 by stealing our aluminum, they'll do it, even if it takes them 3 or 4 hours.
Good point.
Yeah,
It's gonna have to be we can't just use locks, they're just gonna, pull out the bolt cutters.
Right.
So it's gonna have to be something that is very difficult and would take too much time for them to be able to really accomplish the theft. So I think that's a serious angle we have to consider if we're gonna spend that kind of money to fix that up.
Well, there's different lock systems too, where you can't just get in there unless you have the key to open it up, so we can explore that.
And the problem is that we're at the saltwater level,
Well-
and they probably don't make saltwater proof locks like
No.
that. So,
I got an idea for something for that. But I'm just thinking out loud here. For trailers and trailer hitches, the pins that hold the trailer hitch to okay, they have some that have a key in them. And I'm wondering if there's not a way to adapt something like that to this.
True.
That's something I'll talk to
Yeah.
Rogue about. That.
Okay, right.
Because then there's nothing for them to cut,
Right.
and it's solid.
Okay.
All right.
And then as for the signage deal, instead of continually making new signs, you literally should just have a sign that says that all current prices are available at the pay station. You don't have to go about making new signs.
Good point.
You must pay at the pay station to use this facility, get rid of the cash boxes. If they want to pay in cash, they can only do it during business hours when the port offices are actually open. That's what the pay stations are for. Let's force the public to use them.
Good point.
Otherwise,
That's great.
it's even more of a time sink for me to get into the box and find all the receipts, and they never pay there anyway anymore. They almost only predominantly use the pay station. I almost never have to get into the box to pull any envelopes out unless it's trip day. That's the only time that we actually take cash down there.
That makes the most sense.
They pay more using the card because we charge them the extra fees for transferring money around.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's
Yeah.
just,
Well said.
there could be a simple way of not having to change signs all the time.
Sometimes it's easy to overlook the simple.
Yeah,
Good, thank you.
Okay.
that's all I got to do.
Okay,
right.
thank you. Yes, Barry, and then, did you want to say something next? Go ahead, Barry, then I'll have him.
This is really quick, but thinking about it, if we leave the temporary fencing out there for 2 months, and then store it away from the water, the galvanized is going to last quite a while.
Yeah,
Yes, it will emit some salt water while it's out there for 2 months, and then it will stop.
Yeah.
It would deter us that way.
okay,
It has nothing in regard to your.
that's
That's
okay.
okay.
Public comment. you
It's
can say
anything, whatever you need.
Good subject.
Well, I'm Thomas with Tom Farmer Oyster Company.
Oh, great.
And I was wondering, I'd like to see if you guys would like to lease your tide lands for oysters over on the North Shore side. The boat launch, the mooring launch mainly for oysters. I know the boat launch, there's a lot of the community goes after oysters there, and I don't have a problem, not touching that. There is an overabundance of clams there that could be thinned out. There has been several, poachers that I've seen filling up 5-gallon buckets full of clams and bailing out, and I've got them to go say, hey, game warden, come by and check this all the time. You might not want to do that, and they load up in the truck and we go. But so what I do is, I don't over harvest the beach, a selective harvest. Generally, it can go every 2 years or so, do a good amount of harvest. Because right now, all the oysters are just building up on top of each other. And then, the ones on top will survive, the ones down below will die. So if you just keep cycling them out, it's a good revenue source for Port of Allyn.
Yeah, I think we're allowed to do that, but we'll have to find out if we're allowed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, all that would be, would be filed on, I don't know, that for the health department and everything else, I take care of all that.
Yeah,
It would, I would send all the information in, the health department would come out, test the waters, and, then you either give the yay or nay for the harvest approval.
Mhm.
I do an aquatic farm registration with the Fish and Wildlife, pay those fees. I deal everything with the tribe. They like to come in every 3 years and harvest, but they don't generally, hit a lot of the small parcels. So they just, they'll come and survey, and I would show up on them just to watch and supervise. And then, 90% of the time they'll give you, they won't call you back, they just let it go. And some of the times they call with, what their quota would be on the beach and what their percentage would be. And then it would be, if they did choose to harvest, their 50%, they set everything up, they would notify me, and then I'd notify you guys, or I could have them notify you guys as well. And just, go from there if that's the case, if it goes that far. But yeah, I drive by it all the time and I see the pile of oysters.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds really good.
Tom, when you and I spoke, the biggest thing I had was a DOH certification. At one time when I was working out there, this place was closed to recreational harvest. And so, I think it had to do, this place I know it had to deal with the creosote pilings. That place we don't, might have one underneath. But as long as DOH will certify the beach, you get your aquaculture, you deal with the refeeding decision, and make sure the tribe's notified, they get their 50%, or have the opportunity to harvest the beach. I think it'd be a win-win for the public. And I used to write tickets all the time out there. And, people go out there, but it was closed by DOH. It was never the commercial harvesters, it was the recreation, so-called recreation harvesters. So, but yeah, I'll tell you, commissioners, for 30 years I've known that place, know the history. And when we talk, as long as we get the proper documentation, we get blessed, I'm all for it. We can enter into an agreement, and go from there, as long as it's okay with our legal staff that we're using public property.
It was my understanding that since we leased the tide lands, we couldn't sublease them. That was my understanding when I was first presented with this.
I'd like to double check.
Yeah, we just have to find out if we have the legal right to do that.
I mean, if we have the legal right to do it, I'd be all for doing it.
Yeah. So that's great proposal.
I don't know if you'd like to read some, just a contract and just to look over.
Sure, yeah, we'd like that.
Business card.
That'd be great.
Does it, have you got like a boundary figured out to be more definitive?
It would, I would go by Onyx map,
Yeah.
and then it shows all the property lines.
And then, one other question I have is like, so, if we did that with you, can the tribe just come in whenever they want?
No, they're supposed to give us a 30-day notice.
Well, okay, but could they just give 30-day notice any time, not just once every few years? I mean,
It would be, they're legal every 3 years, so if they did choose to, they would come back and survey it again, and then see what the volume is on it, and then... Oh, they surveyed this year? Yeah, so I mean, they could still come now, and, and harvest. If you didn't get it, if you haven't gotten any, any results
just
from...
notification that they were going to survey.
Oh, okay. So
That was.
so they can do that anyway with or without you coming in, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
I didn't know.
whenever I turn in an
I'm not
application,
surprised.
whenever I turn in an application to the health department, it automatically goes to the tribe.
All right.
Out of any, I've probably got 45 different beaches on the Hood Canal. And anytime that one goes in, it automatically goes to the tribe for them to survey.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Nice
very much.
meeting you. Yeah, great. Anybody else?
I can attest that he lives in
Yeah, that's true. He does, neighbor, huh?
Right on, thank you.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much. Okay, anything for the good of the order?
One thing, I got an email since the meeting started from Mark Neary, the county administrator, about the ARPA money, and I will follow up on it tomorrow.
Okay, great.
It appears that they just want an update. I forwarded a copy of the email to all three of you.
Okay, great. Anything else for the good of the order?
The EDC is having their 40th anniversary on, I believe, the 17th
Yes.
of August at the Ridge Motorsports. And I know I had mentioned that I would be there there may be a conflict on that date, so I will let you both know if I can. Okay, all right.
I hope somebody can go, because I don't think I can go.
I cannot go.
What day is it?
The 17th is on a Thursday.
To the ridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I let them know that you were going and that you were going.
Okay.
Yeah. And I told them that as
Well,
well.
I can't turn up, but
I am going to take some personal time. I've got some family business I have to go to Phoenix to do. I'm going to leave on Wednesday. I'll be gone probably a week.
Okay. All right.
so you're noticing this for that. Okay.
But I will have my computer and my phone with me, and I will
Okay.
take care of stuff as
Okay.
I need to.
All right.
Anything else for the good of the order? No? Thank you for coming, by the way. Again, I apologize to Ken that he wasn't able to be heard properly. Hopefully he can come next time or share something, and appreciate it. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a quick question.